You sprayed your garden 3 times this month. The aphids came back within a week each time. The beetles found a new section of the plant to attack. You are starting to wonder whether the spray actually does anything at all, or whether you are just going through a ritual that makes you feel like you are doing something while the insects adapt around it. Depression-era families did not have access to chemical pesticides the way you do. Synthetic pesticide development did not begin in earnest until the 1940s, with DDT becoming commercially available for home garden use in 1945. Before that, for the entire span of the Depression, American home gardeners controlled pests almost exclusively through a method that required no spraying at all, planting specific plants among their vegetables that insects either avoided entirely or that actively repelled pests from everything growing nearby. This is documented extensively in agricultural extension literature from the 1920s and 1930s, under a practice that has since been studied and confirmed by modern entomology: companion planting for pest deterrence. The mechanism is not folklore. Many of these plants produce strong-smelling compounds, essential oils released from their leaves, that either mask the scent signals insects use to locate their preferred host plants, or that are directly repellent or toxic to specific pest species. Plant them in the right places, and you are not treating a pest problem after it happens. You are preventing it from happening in the first place, continuously, for the entire growing season, with zero ongoing cost or labor beyond the initial planting. Here are the 7 plants that appeared most consistently in Depression-era farm garden records as pest deterrents, along with the specific mechanism behind each one and exactly where to plant it. Number 1. Marigold. This is the most extensively documented companion plant in the historical record, and modern research has confirmed why. Marigold roots release a compound called alpha-terthioneal into the surrounding soil, which is toxic to nematodes, microscopic soil-dwelling pests that attack the roots of tomatoes, potatoes, and many other vegetables from underground where you cannot see the damage happening until the plant is already failing. Plant marigolds throughout your vegetable beds, not just at the border. The nematode protection only extends to the soil immediately around the marigold's own root system, so distributed planting throughout the bed matters more than a border planting. Number 2. Nasturtium. Aphids have a strong preference for nasturtium over almost any other plant in the garden. Depression-era gardeners used this preference deliberately, planting nasturtium as what is called a trap crop, a sacrificial plant that draws aphids away from the vegetables you actually want to protect. Plant nasturtium a short distance from your most aphid-vulnerable crops, particularly beans and brassicas. The aphids congregate on the nasturtium instead. You periodically remove the most heavily infested nasturtium leaves, and the problem never reaches your actual crop. Number 3. Garlic. Beyond its use as a spray, simply growing garlic, interspersed throughout the garden, provides continuous pest deterrence. The sulfur compounds garlic releases into the soil and air repel aphids, Japanese beetles, and carrot flies. Depression-era farm records show garlic planted in narrow rows between rows of roses, cabbage, and carrots, specifically for this reason, not primarily for harvest. Number 4. Borage. This plant attracts predatory insects, specifically the parasitic wasps and hoverflies that prey on aphids and caterpillars, at a rate higher than almost any other common garden plant. Rather than repelling pests directly, borage works by building an army of beneficial insects that handle pest control on your behalf. Depression-era farm gardens planted borage near tomatoes specifically because it draws in the predators that control tomato hornworms, one of the most destructive pests a tomato plant can face. Number 5. Chrysanthemum. The compound pyrethrin, found in certain chrysanthemum varieties, is so effective against insects that it became the basis for commercial pyrethrin-based pesticides still sold today, meaning the chemical industry eventually extracted and commercialized a compound that was already freely available by simply growing the gel plant. Depression-era gardeners grew pyrethrin-producing chrysanthemums directly in the garden, where the living plant provided continuous low-level pest deterrence without any extraction or processing required. Number 6. Mint. Mint repels ants, aphids, and cabbage moths through its extremely strong scent, which interferes with the chemical signals these insects use to locate host plants. The historical caution that comes with mint, documented in every extension bulletin that mentions it, is that it must be planted in a contained pot buried in the ground, rather than directly in open soil, Mint spreads aggressively through underground runners and will take over an entire garden bed within 2 seasons if left unconfined. Depression-era families managed this by planting mint in old tin cans or broken clay pots with the bottoms removed, buried at the edge of vegetable beds, containing the spread while still providing the pest deterrent benefit. Number 7. Basil. Beyond its culinary use, basil repels mosquitoes, flies, and the tomato hornworm specifically, making it one of the most commonly paired companion plants for tomatoes in any era, including today. The Depression-era version of this practice involved planting basil at the base of every tomato plant in the garden, a pairing so consistent across historical farm garden records that it appears to have been treated as standard practice rather than an optional addition. Here is what unifies all 7 of these plants and why this approach outperforms spraying over a full season. A pesticide spray, even an effective one, kills the pests present at the moment of application and does nothing to prevent the next wave from arriving days later. Companion planting changes the chemical and visual environment of your garden continuously, every single day, for the entire season, without requiring you to do anything after the initial planting. Insects searching for a host plant by scent encounter a garden saturated with marigold, garlic, and mint instead of the clean vegetable scent they are searching for, and many move on before ever finding your tomatoes. This is also why Depression-era gardens, planted before synthetic pesticides existed, were not pest-free by luck. They were pest-resistant by design. Every plant in the garden had a purpose beyond its own harvest: vegetables to eat, companion plants to protect them, and in many cases, as you saw in the perennial flower video, ornamentals that also drew in pollinators and beneficial predatory insects. None of these 7 plants cost more than a few dollars for a packet of seeds, and most of them, once established, self-seed or perennialize, meaning the cost is paid once and the benefit continues for years. Compare that to a season of pesticide spray, repurchased every few weeks, that treats symptoms without addressing why the pests kept returning in the first place. Plant marigold and garlic throughout your vegetable beds this spring. Add nasturtium near your beans. Add borage near your tomatoes. Contain a pot of mint at the garden's edge. Put basil at the base of every tomato plant. This is the entire system, and it requires 1 planting season to set up, and 0 spraying for the rest of the year. If you want the specific spacing and pairing recommendations for each vegetable in your garden, subscribe. We cover the details in individual videos, 1 new method every single day. And if you know someone who is still spraying their garden every 2 weeks and wondering why the pests keep coming back, show them this. The pests were never the unsolvable problem. The garden was just missing 7 plants.